All right. So you're thinking about opening a gym?
Uh-huh.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
It's a great way to help people get healthy and build a community.
it is.
But before you start picturing rows of shiny treadmills and clinking weight plates,
Right.
we need to talk about something a little less glamorous,
Yeah,
risk management.
absolutely.
You sent us a really helpful document called Comprehensive Risk Management for Gym Owners.
Yes.
And let me tell you, it is packed with insights that could save you from some serious headaches
Oh, yeah.
down the road.
Big time.
Yeah.
It's all about setting yourself up for success by anticipating challenges and having strategies in place to mitigate them.
Okay, so let's dive in.
Let's do it.
This document breaks down the world of gym ownership risks into 5 main categories:
Okay.
physical, operational, legal and compliance, financial, and reputational.
Wow.
We're going to unpack each of these,
Right.
but I think a good place to start is by understanding why risk management is so important in the first place.
You're absolutely right. It's tempting to think, hey, I'm just opening a gym, not launching a rocket.
Right.
But the reality is that gym owners face a wide range of potential risks that can have a serious impact on their business,
Yeah,
not to mention their peace of mind.
for sure.
We're talking legal issues,
Okay.
financial pitfalls, and even reputational damage that can be tough to recover from.
Yeah, I remember reading a story about a gym that got slammed on social media because they weren't enforcing their mask policy during the peak of the pandemic.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about a PR nightmare.
Exactly. And that's a perfect example of a reputational risk.
Yeah.
But let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Okay.
Let's start with the basics.
Okay.
The document highlights physical risks,
Okay.
which are probably the most obvious.
Right.
We're talking about the potential for injuries to members or staff due to faulty equipment, slippery floors, or even improper use of weights.
Makes sense. You don't want someone dropping a barbell on their toe and then suing you for negligence. The document actually mentions a case where a gym was held liable because their treadmill malfunctioned and caused a serious injury.
Oof. That's a classic example of why regular equipment maintenance and prop repairs are absolutely non-negotiable.
Right.
It's not just about keeping things running smoothly.
Yeah.
It's about protecting yourself from legal trouble.
Okay, so let's say you've got your equipment in tip-top shape.
Right.
What about the other things that fall under operational risks?
Operational risks encompass a wide range of potential issues related to how your gym runs on a day-to-day basis.
Okay.
This includes things like staffing shortages, scheduling conflicts,
Yeah.
inadequate security measures,
Yeah.
or even a power outage that shuts down your entire facility.
It's like that scene in every disaster movie where the power goes out and all hell breaks loose.
Well, maybe not that dramatic.
Right.
But the point is that operational risks can disrupt your business,
Yeah.
inconvenience your members,
Yeah.
and even lead to safety hazards if not properly addressed.
So it's about having backup plans and procedures in place for when those unexpected wrenches get thrown into the works.
You got it.
But now we're getting into the world of regulations and compliance.
Okay.
The document mentions OSHA.
Yeah.
What exactly is that?
OSHA stands for the Occupational Safety and Health Administration.
Okay.
And they're basically the watchdogs of workplace safety.
Gotcha.
They set standards for everything from hazard communication to emergency procedures, and they have the power to inspect your facility and issue fines if you're not in compliance.
So it's not just a suggestion to have fire extinguishers and first aid kits.
Nope.
It's the law.
Exactly, and OSHA is just one piece of the legal puzzle.
Right.
You also have the Americans with Disabilities Act,
Okay.
or ADA, which ensures that your facility is accessible to people with disabilities.
Yeah.
That means having ramps,
Okay.
accessible restrooms,
Right.
and equipment that can be used by people with a wide range of physical abilities.
It makes total sense that everyone should be able to enjoy the benefits of a gym, regardless of their physical abilities.
I agree.
I remember going to a gym once where the accessible equipment was tucked away in a dark corner. Not exactly inclusive.
That's unfortunately a common oversight.
Yeah.
And it's something that can land a gym owner in hot water with the ADA.
Gotcha.
But the legal complexities don't stop there.
Oh, boy.
We also have employment laws, privacy laws like IPA.
Hold on, HIPAA. Isn't that something doctors have to worry about? What does that have to do with gyms?
Great question.
Yeah.
HIPAA, or the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act,
Okay.
protects the privacy of personal health information.
Mm-hmm.
You might think, well, I'm just a gym, not a hospital.
Right.
But if you offer any services that involve collecting or disclosing health information,
Okay.
like personal training, nutritional counseling, or even just asking members about their health history.
Okay.
You need to be HIPAA compliant.
Wow. That's a lot more involved than I realized.
It is.
So let's say I'm offering personalized fitness plans.
Okay.
And I'm tracking my members' progress, including their weight, body fat percentage, and other health metrics. That all falls under HIPAA, right?
Absolutely.
Wow.
You need to have secure systems for storing that information.
Right.
And you can't just share it with anyone without the member's explicit consent.
Gotcha.
Imagine a scenario where you're chatting with a member at the front desk and you casually mention their weight loss progress to another member standing nearby.
Oh, wow.
That could be a HIPAA violation right there.
Okay, I'm starting to see how all these legal and compliance issues can add up quickly.
They do.
Yeah.
And we haven't even touched on financial risks yet.
Oh, no.
But before we jump into that,
Okay.
I think it's important to emphasize that understanding these legal requirements isn't just about avoiding penalties.
Okay.
It's about creating a safe and inclusive environment for your members and staff,
Right.
which ultimately leads to a more successful business.
I love that perspective. It's not just about checking boxes. It's about doing the right thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And when you approach risk management with that mindset, it becomes less of a burden
Right.
and more of a foundation for building a thriving gym community.
All right, so we've covered physical risks, operational risks, and the legal and compliance landscape. I'm already feeling like I need a personal trainer to help me navigate all this.
Don't worry, we're just getting started. Up next, we'll delve into the world of financial risks, which are just as important as those other categories.
Hey.
But first, let's take a moment to reflect on what we've learned so far.
Sounds good. Welcome back. So far, we've tackled some pretty intense stuff.
Yeah.
Equipment malfunctions, legal landmines, even HIPAA violations.
Right.
Now I'm ready to hit the financial weights.
Right.
What are some of the money matters gym owners need to be prepared for?
Good timing, because financial risks are a major consideration.
Okay.
This document dives deep into the financial side of things.
Yeah.
And trust me, more to it than just membership fees and profit margins.
All right, let's break it down.
Okay.
What are some of the biggest financial risks outlined in this document?
One of the most significant risks is inadequate cash flow.
Okay.
You might have a great gym with all the latest equipment,
Right.
but if you don't have enough money coming in to cover your expenses,
Yeah.
you're in trouble.
That makes sense. You've got rent or mortgage payments, utility bills, staff salaries, equipment maintenance. It all adds up.
Exactly. And then there are unexpected expenses that can pop up.
Oh, yeah.
Like a major equipment breakdown
Right.
or a sudden increase in insurance premiums.
Okay.
If you don't have a financial cushion,
Yeah.
these unexpected costs can really throw you off balance.
So it's not just about making a profit.
Right.
It's about managing your finances carefully to ensure you can weather those financial storms.
Precisely. The document recommends having a solid business plan
Okay.
with realistic financial projections. Don't just assume you'll be packed with members from day one.
It's like those cooking shows where they say, okay, now we're going to add a pinch of salt, but they never tell you how big the pinch should be.
I like that analogy.
Yeah.
It's all about having the right recipe for financial success.
Right.
And part of that recipe is understanding your costs, forecasting your revenue,
Yeah.
and having a plan for managing your cash flow.
Okay, so let's say you've got your finances in order.
Okay.
Are there other financial risks lurking in the shadows?
There are.
The document mentions something called member attrition,
Yes.
which sounds pretty ominous.
Member attrition is basically a fancy term for members canceling their memberships.
Gotcha.
It's a major concern for gyms because it directly impacts your revenue stream.
So it's not enough to just attract new members.
Yeah.
You have to keep your existing members happy and engaged.
Exactly. The document talks about strategies for reducing member attrition,
Okay.
such as offering a variety of classes and programs, creating a welcoming and supportive environment,
Yeah.
and providing excellent customer service.
I remember going to a gym once where the staff were so friendly and helpful.
Yeah.
It really made a difference.
Oh, sure.
It felt less like a transaction and more like a community.
That's exactly the kind of environment you want to create.
Yeah.
And let's not forget about the importance of staying relevant in a competitive market.
Right.
New gyms are popping up all the time.
Yeah.
So you need to constantly innovate and offer something unique to stand out from the crowd.
That's a good point. You can't just rest on your laurels. You have to keep evolving to meet the changing needs of your members.
Absolutely. Now let's shift gears and talk about something that can really make or break a gym.
Okay.
Liability.
Okay, I'm all ears. This sounds like some serious legal territory.
It is.
Yeah.
And it's something every gym owner needs to grasp.
Okay.
Negligence basically means that you failed to exercise reasonable care.
Okay.
And as a result, someone was injured or harmed.
So if I have a broken treadmill that I know is dangerous, but I don't fix it,
Right.
and someone gets hurt using it,
Yes.
that would be considered negligence.
Exactly.
Okay.
Or let's say you don't have adequate safety signage,
Mhm.
warning members about potential hazards.
Right.
Or you fail to train your staff properly on emergency procedures.
Okay.
Those could also be considered acts of negligence.
Yikes. So how does a gym owner protect themselves from these kinds of liability risks?
The document outlines a multi-layered approach.
Okay.
First and foremost, it's about creating a culture of safety.
Right.
That means having clear safety protocols and procedures, providing ongoing staff training,
Yeah.
and regularly inspecting your equipment and facilities.
So it's not just about having a first aid kit in the corner.
Nope.
It's about making safety an integral part of your gym's operation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there are legal instruments like liability waivers.
Ah, yes, those infamous waivers everyone has to sign before they set foot in a gym. But are those really worth the paper they're printed on? I mean, can they actually protect a gym from lawsuits?
Waivers can be an important part of your risk management strategy,
Okay.
but they're not a foolproof shield.
Right.
There's a common misconception that if someone signs a waiver, they automatically give up their right to sue if they get injured.
So it's not a get-out-of-jail-free card.
Definitely not.
Okay.
A well-drafted waiver can help protect you from lawsuits arising from inherent risks associated with using the gym,
Okay.
like pulling a muscle while lifting weights.
Right.
But there are limits.
So what are some situations where a waiver might not hold up in court?
One example is gross negligence, which we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
If you knowingly disregard a safety hazard or act recklessly
Right.
and someone gets hurt,
Okay.
a waiver likely won't protect you.
So if I see a frayed cable on a weight machine and I just ignore it,
Yeah,
and then that cable snaps and injures someone,
Right.
I'm probably still in trouble, even if they signed a waiver.
that's right.
Okay.
The courts tend to frown upon businesses that blatantly disregard safety concerns.
Makes sense.
Another example is if the waiver itself is poorly written or ambiguous.
Okay, so it's not just about having a waiver.
Right.
It's about having a well-crafted waiver that clearly outlines the risks and responsibilities.
Exactly. And it's worth consulting with an attorney specializing in the fitness industry
Okay.
to make sure your waivers are legally sound and enforceable in your state.
That makes sense. You don't want to rely on a generic waiver you found online. You need something tailored to your specific gym and the laws in your jurisdiction.
Absolutely. Now, another key element of liability protection is insurance.
Okay.
You need to make sure you have adequate coverage to protect your business in case of a lawsuit.
Right, because even if you do everything right, accidents can still happen.
That's the reality of operating a gym.
Yeah.
People are pushing their physical limits.
Yeah.
And sometimes things go wrong.
Right.
That's why having liability insurance is essential. It can help cover legal expenses, medical bills,
Right.
and even damages awarded in a lawsuit.
Okay, so we've got waivers and insurance.
Yes.
But what about those other legal documents the document keeps mentioning? Things like contracts and agreements.
Those are crucial for setting clear expectations and protecting your interests in various situations.
Okay.
For example, you'll need solid contracts with your vendors.
You mean the companies that supply your treadmills, weight machines, and all that good stuff?
Exactly. Those contracts should outline everything.
Okay.
Delivery schedules, payment terms, warranty information, even liability clauses in case their equipment malfunctions.
So if a weight bench collapses because of a manufacturing defect,
Right.
it's the supplier who's on the hook, not me.
That's the idea. It's all about having those legal safeguards in place.
Right.
And then, of course, there are employment contracts with your staff.
Right. You need to make sure everyone's clear on their roles, responsibilities, and compensation.
Exactly. And speaking of staff, another important area of risk management is background checks.
Wait, background checks. Why would a gym need to do that?
It's all about protecting your members and your business.
Okay.
You want to make sure you're not hiring someone with a history of theft, assault,
Right.
or other criminal behavior that could put your members at risk.
I guess you're right.
Yeah.
You're creating a community where people trust each other, and that trust starts with the staff you hire.
Exactly. And it's not just about preventing criminal activity.
Okay.
Background checks can also help you verify a potential employee's qualifications and experience.
Oh, okay.
You want to make sure they have the right certifications and training to work in a gym environment.
Okay, so background checks are important. What about those independent trainers who work in a lot of gyms?
Right.
They're not technically employees.
Yeah.
So do those same rules apply?
That's a great question, and it's one that many gym owners grapple with.
Yeah.
Independent trainers bring their own unique set of risks and considerations. So let's delve into that in more detail after a quick break.
Sounds good. We're back and ready to tackle the world of independent trainers.
All right.
It seems like every gym has a few of these fitness gurus roaming around,
Yeah.
but they're not exactly employees.
Right.
So how do you manage the risks associated with these independent contractors?
That's a great question
Yeah,
and an important one to consider.
for sure.
Independent trainers can be a valuable asset to your gym,
Oh,
providing specialized expertise and attracting a diverse clientele.
right.
But they also introduce a unique set of risks
Mm-hmm.
that need to be carefully managed.
Okay, let's break it down.
Let's do it.
What are some of the key things gym owners should keep in mind when working with independent trainers?
The first and most important step is vetting and credentialing.
Okay.
Just like you wouldn't hire a staff member without checking their references and qualifications.
Right.
You need to thoroughly vet any trainer who wants to work in your gym.
Makes sense. You want to make sure they're legit and not just some fitness enthusiast who watched a few YouTube videos.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Verify their certifications.
Okay.
Make sure they hold current and relevant credentials
Mm-hmm.
from reputable organizations in the fitness industry.
Right.
You don't want someone claiming to be a certified personal trainer
Right.
when they actually got their certification from a weekend seminar.
Yikes. That's a recipe for disaster.
It is.
So let's say you've vetted a trainer and their credentials check out.
Okay.
What's next?
The next crucial step is defining roles and responsibilities.
Okay.
You need to have a clear written agreement that outlines exactly what they're authorized to do,
Mm-hmm.
the types of training they can provide,
Right.
their scheduling obligations,
Mm-hmm.
and how they'll interact with your staff and members.
So it's like setting boundaries and making sure everyone's on the same page.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You don't want a trainer going rogue and offering some crazy new workout routine that could put your members at risk.
Right. And speaking of risk, what about liability?
Okay.
If a client gets injured during a training session with an independent trainer, who's responsible?
That's where things can get tricky.
Okay.
The gym owner could potentially be held liable,
Uh-oh.
even if the trainer is technically an independent contractor.
Wait, what? But they're not an employee?
That's right.
Yeah.
But the legal concept of vicarious liability can come into play.
Okay.
It basically means that you can be held responsible for the actions of someone else,
Right.
even if you didn't directly do anything wrong.
Okay, now I'm really starting to sweat.
I bet.
So how can a gym owner protect themselves from this vicarious liability thing?
The document recommends a multi-pronged approach.
Okay.
First,
Mm-hmm.
make sure that your independent contractor agreements are rock solid.
Okay.
They should clearly state that the trainer is responsible for their own actions
Right.
and that they're required to carry their own liability insurance.
So if a client sues the trainer, it's their insurance that kicks in, not the gym's insurance.
That's the goal.
Okay.
But even with those contractual safeguards in place,
Right.
it's still a good idea to have your own liability insurance that specifically covers independent contractors.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
It's like having an extra layer of protection just in case.
exactly.
But beyond contracts and insurance, what else can gym owners do to manage the risks associated with independent trainers?
Communication is key.
Okay.
Regularly communicate with your trainers about safety protocols,
Uh-huh.
emergency procedures,
Mm-hmm.
and any changes to your gym's policies.
Okay.
Make sure they're aware of their responsibilities
Yeah.
and that they're adhering to the same standards as your staff.
So it's about creating a culture of safety that extends to everyone who works in your gym,
Yes.
whether they're an employee or an independent contractor.
Exactly. And don't forget about ongoing monitoring.
Okay.
Keep an eye on what your trainers are doing.
Right.
Check in with their clients. And address any concerns promptly.
That's a great reminder.
Yeah.
It's not enough to just set things up and hope for the best.
Yep.
You need to be actively involved in managing those risks.
Absolutely. Now let's shift gears and talk about something that can really make a gym stand out from the crowd.
Right.
Special events.
Ooh, yes. Events are a great way to build community and attract new members.
Uh-huh.
I'm picturing fitness challenges,
Yeah.
charity fundraisers,
Right.
maybe even a healthy cooking demonstration.
Those are all great ideas.
Yeah.
But remember, special events come with their own set of risks that need to be carefully considered.
Okay, so it's not just about booking a DJ and ordering pizza.
Definitely not.
Oh, yeah.
You need to approach event planning with the same risk management mindset you apply to your day-to-day operations.
Right.
That starts with a thorough risk assessment.
So thinking through all the things that could go wrong.
Exactly.
Okay.
What are the potential hazards associated with the activities involved? What are the crowd control considerations?
Right.
Do you have adequate security and first aid personnel on standby?
And I imagine permits and licenses are important too, right?
Absolutely. Make sure you're complying with all relevant laws and regulations, including fire codes, occupancy limits,
Right.
and any special permits required for outdoor events or events involving alcohol.
Okay, so you've got your permits.
Okay.
You've assessed the risks.
Yes.
What's next?
Contracts.
Okay.
Just like with independent trainers.
Right.
You need to have clear contracts with everyone involved in the event.
Okay.
Vendors, sponsors, entertainers,
Right.
even volunteers.
So if the DJ accidentally trips over a power cord and injures a guest, their contract should specify that they're responsible for their own actions.
Exactly. It's all about clarifying responsibilities and limiting your liability.
Right.
And of course, make sure you have adequate insurance coverage for the event,
Okay.
just in case something unexpected happens.
This is a lot to keep track of.
It is.
It sounds like hosting a successful and safe event requires careful planning and attention to detail.
You've got that right. But don't let the risks deter you.
Right.
Events can be a fantastic way to engage your members, build your brand,
Yeah.
and generate excitement around your gym.
So it's all about finding that balance between managing the risks and reaping the rewards.
Exactly. And speaking of rewards,
Yeah.
let's talk about the long-term success of your gym.
Okay.
This document emphasizes the importance of staying ahead of the curve in the fitness industry.
Right, because the fitness world is constantly evolving with new trends, technologies, and challenges.
Yes.
What are some of the things gym owners should be thinking about to future-proof their businesses?
One major area is technology,
Okay.
particularly cybersecurity,
Right.
as gyms increasingly rely on digital platforms for things like membership management, online booking,
Yeah.
and virtual training.
Right.
They become more vulnerable to data breaches and cyber attacks.
So it's not just about having a cool website. It's about making sure that website is secure and protecting your members' data.
Exactly. You need to invest in robust cybersecurity measures like firewalls, data encryption,
Okay.
and multi-factor authentication.
Right.
And you need to educate your staff and members about best practices for online security.
That's a great point. It's like having a state-of-the-art security system for your physical gym, but for the digital world.
Precisely. Another area to watch is the rise of boutique fitness studios.
Oh, right.
These specialized studios offer niche workouts
Yeah.
like yoga, Pilates, or spin classes, and they're becoming increasingly popular.
So how can traditional gyms compete with these boutique studios?
The document suggests offering a mix of traditional and boutique-style classes,
Oh,
creating specialized training programs, and focusing on building a strong sense of community.
so it's about diversifying your offerings and creating a unique experience that members can't find anywhere else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And let's not forget about the importance of staying informed about industry trends and consumer preferences.
Right.
What are the hot new workouts?
Yeah.
What are people looking for in a gym experience?
It's like being a trendsetter, always one step ahead of the curve.
That's a great way to put it. Now, as we wrap up this deep dive into gym ownership risks,
Okay.
I want to emphasize one final point.
Right.
Building a risk-aware organizational culture.
Okay. I'm intrigued. What exactly does that mean?
It means creating an environment where safety is everyone's responsibility
Right.
from the top down.
Okay.
It means encouraging open communication, where staff members feel comfortable reporting concerns or near misses without fear of reprisal.
So it's not just about having policies and procedures in place.
Right.
It's about creating a culture where safety is truly valued and prioritized.
Exactly. It's about empowering your team to identify and mitigate risks.
Yeah.
And it's about fostering a sense of shared ownership over the safety and well-being of your members and staff.
Wow, this has been an incredible deep dive.
It has.
We've covered so much ground, from equipment malfunctions to cyber attacks,
Well,
from liability waivers to boutique fitness trends.
yeah.
I'm feeling a little overwhelmed, but also empowered to tackle these challenges head on.
That's the spirit. Remember, a proactive approach to risk management is an investment in the long-term success of your gym
Right.
by anticipating challenges, developing strategies,
Yeah.
and fostering a culture of safety.
Right.
You can create a thriving fitness community that's both rewarding and resilient.
Absolutely. And to our listener, if you're serious about opening a gym, I highly recommend diving into this full document, Comprehensive Risk Management for Gym Owners. It's
Yeah.
packed with valuable information and practical guidance that can help you navigate this exciting and challenging journey.
It is.
So stay informed, stay adaptable, and most importantly, stay passionate about helping people achieve their fitness goals. Until next time, happy lifting.